Hello everyone. Today's lesson is about how to demonstrate elastic demand and inelastic demand using graphs. So in our previous lessons, we discussed about what is elastic demand and what is inelastic demand. Elastic demand is when percentage change in quantity demanded is greater than percentage change in price. Or else, if you calculate PED is greater than 1. So if you could remember, the shape of the demand curve for elastic demand we learned has a shallow slope compared to inelastic demand. So inelastic demand has a steep slope demand curve, whereas elastic demand has a shallow demand curve. So I'm going to construct a demand curve with a shallow slope. So this is our demand curve. I'm going to label it as D. Right. Now, for us to understand percentage change in price and percentage change in quantity, I'm going to pick two different prices, and according to those prices, I'm going to identify what are the quantities we'll receive. So let's start with P1. So this is my P1 price. For the price of P1, quantity demanded was Q1. Then I am going to change this price. Actually, I am going to decrease the price level. I am going to change price into P2, and accordingly you can see how the quantity is changing. P2, and this is Q2. Now, if we need to calculate price elasticity of demand, we need to use Ped formula. I hope everyone can remember Ped formula we used earlier in our previous lessons. So in simple terms, price elasticity of demand, Ped is percentage change in quantity divided by percentage change in price. So using our notations P1, P2, Q1 and Q2, let's apply this information into our Ped formula and find out what will happen. So percentage change in quantity, we have learned how to calculate percentage change in quantity. That is new quantity minus old quantity over old quantity multiplied by 100. So if you use the notations, new quantity is Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1, that is the old quantity. This should be multiplied by 100 because we are considering percentages. This is divided by P2 minus P1 divided by original price, that is P1, multiplied by 100. You can see percentage change in quantity demanded. To calculate that, we have to find out Q2 minus Q1. So for your convenience, we can consider this as delta cube. In economics, we often use this notation delta. Delta represents the difference. So the difference in price we can call delta P. If you look at your delta cube and delta P, you can already see the difference. Delta cube is greater than delta P. So let's apply this information into our formula. So that is going to be delta cube divided by cube 1 multiplied by 100 divided by delta P divided by P1 multiplied by 100. So very easy to simplify this equation. You can cut off hundreds. Then since I don't have space, let me move it to the side. We get delta cube divided by cube 1. Since delta P divided by P1 is below the line, we can take it above the line. So P1 will go above the line, whereas delta P will go below the line. Now you can see we can simplify our equation. No, we can change our variables a little bit and make it look nice. So if you take deltas into one side, our equation is going to be delta cube divided by delta P multiplied by P1 divided by cube 1. So if you look at this formula, you can see this proportion delta cube divided by delta P will help us to understand elastic demand. If you look at delta cube in this particular graph for the shallow slope demand curve, delta cube is greater than delta P, which means percentage change in quantity demanded is greater than percentage change in price. So this is elastic demand. Anyway, I want to bring your attention into this equation. We actually constructed an alternative formula for calculating PED. If you could remember the previous or the original PED formula, it's here. What we do is percentage change in quantity divided by percentage change in price. So individually you need to calculate percentage change in quantity and percentage change in price. But let's say in exam they have given you data original price, new price, change in quantity demanded or change in price. For that easily you can use this alternative formula. So for that you need to know the difference in quantity demanded, the difference in price, original price and original quantity. So remember in exam you can use both formulas, but if the examination paper has given particular information, they have asked you to calculate percentage change in quantity, or the changes are given in percentages, you need to use original formula. But if it is a table where you are given original and new prices and quantities, you can easily use the alternative formula to calculate PED. So this is how demand curve for elastic demand would look like. So let's have a look at inelastic demand. I hope you can remember the definition for inelastic demand. Percentage change in price is greater than percentage change in quantity demanded. So let's take our demand curve and try to find out why it has a steep slope. Right. So we learned inelastic demand curve has a steep slope. So if you look at this steep slope demand curve, I picked two prices, and for those prices I am looking at quantities we'll get. This is P1, this is P2, and for P1 we had the quantity of cube 1, for P2 we have the quantity of cube 2. So if you look at the difference in price, which helps us to understand percentage change in price, we consider this as delta P, and delta cube is the difference in quantity. So if you look at percentage change in price, we can consider it as delta P, the difference in price. So the difference in price is greater than the difference in quantity demanded. So that is why we receive higher proportional change in price than proportional change in quantity. So inelastic demand curve therefore has a steep slope. So I hope you understand the difference between elastic and inelastic demand. Also, how these two graphs are different, how elastic demand curve gets a shallow slope and how inelastic demand curve gets a steep slope.